You're listening to the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman, episode 35. Well, hello and welcome to part 2 of the Olivia Towers podcast. So if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, that was 2 weeks ago. So just nip back in time and have a listen to that first. Or you can listen to this as a standalone podcast too. We just split it. So you get twice the joy. So without further ado, here's over to Olivia Towers to chat more about her business, her beliefs, her social media following, and so much more. I hope you enjoy it. The next thing I've got is about your goals and aims in terms of your riding, because also you've developed a business around your mindset in terms of you've got product. So how did that come about? Let's go back to riding goals later. This is so interesting.
I'm loving this. This is great talking about it.
No, it's really, really good because obviously I said to Olivia before we started that I was quite anxious about coming along and interviewing her, which is now just seems like the craziest thing to be anxious about. But I've watched your vlogs, I've read your content, and I thought it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
But I feel like massively uplifted. I'm sure that anyone that listens to this will now be going, "That's amazing," because it's just a different way of framing something, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all it is.
So how have you developed your business around? So obviously you've got horses that you compete, you coach, but you also coach mindset and riding, don't you?
Yeah.
So talk to me about all the things that you do now, how you develop.
So I never set out for it to be a business.
Just got out of hand.
Yeah, but I think it's incredible that I can create a business around helping people. And when people are like, "What's your job?" and I'm like, "I inspire people as a job." It's just ridiculous, isn't it? How cool is that?
It's a really good
job.
A
pretty cool job title. And don't get me wrong, obviously the riding's massively important, but it does give me a purpose. But helping people is so wholesome. And I think if I just became the top rider in the world, but I'd done it by stabbing people in the back and I'd been out for myself, how unsatisfying that would be when you reach there. Because at the end of the day, a medal's a medal and it's a moment in time winning something. Whereas when you have inspired people and you get these messages from people how you've changed their life, and it can be easy to kind of oh right, okay, cool, I've changed your life.
That's a big deal.
When it's a message. But I mean there I can't say there's really personal stories people have told me, but it literally hits home. So yeah, that's just incredible. But how I've done the whole business side of it, it really just happened very organically. So the teaching I was always doing, but I kind of knew from experience myself that a lot of the time when I was teaching people, it wasn't that they couldn't do said movement or ride a certain way because they physically couldn't.
Sure.
It was because their mind was stopping them. So I knew that if you could settle their mind or, just flick a switch in their mind of being a little bit more, say, positive or just understanding, what a massive difference that made. So that's where the whole speaking to riders off the horse came in.
Sure.
And it's so much easier when they're not sat on their horse. Because, people come in for a lesson, they have 5 minutes to go explain their horse's history, their history, what's been going on, what they want to work on. It's too much. So actually to sit down and just even have a cup of tea with someone and just say really what are you struggling with? And what I found is 9 times out of 10 it was nothing to do with the riding. It was say marriage problems, kid problems, just split up with whatever. It was always to do with something else. Or say someone had been hypercritical about their riding.
Sure.
It was never actually the riding that was the problem, which I found really interesting. So that's where that came from. And then all the content and stuff was really just, I had a message and I wanted to tell people about it.
Yeah.
The videoing, I've always been obsessed with videos. When I was younger, I used to watch so many music videos and be obsessed with them. It's really weird. So I found the videography really interesting. And then the shop. So the clothing just came in of, I had these slogans that had helped me out. And I was I want other people to have these slogans. So why not whack them on some clothing, some jewellery. And that was a massive learning curve for me because I understood nothing about it. So I made so many mistakes. I watched so many YouTube tutorials. I wasted hours on things that, I didn't need to do. You know what it's like starting something new? You go around the houses for something that should take 2 seconds. But Theo was helping me through it all. But what Theo was really adamant about was he didn't want to do any of it for me. He wanted to point me in the right direction and then go figure out for yourself so that you don't need me.
Okay.
He was really, really passionate about making me independent. So with the videoing and the editing, he was like, I'm not going to edit it for you. He's like, you go figure out how to do it. Wow. And so that's really how I developed my own twist on it. And then what I'd do is I'd send it to him and he'd be like, okay, just tweak this. So he really made me learn everything from making mistakes and doing it.
Cool. So like a mentor, really?
He was, the Theo thing's really like ridiculous. Like, yeah, like I said, he was like a father figure.
And you still work with him now, don't you?
Yeah. We had a little break because I just needed to save some money. And then now we're just restarting.
But that's really lovely that you've got, someone who is teaching you things as well as helping you.
Yeah.
You've got, the two sides there.
Yeah, I can't even explain to you, like, he changed my life massively, and it's really nice. Like, throughout it, he'd send me a message. Like, he's hard to please. Like, his standards are so high, and he would sometimes, it would come across quite harsh, but it was because he always said to me, he's like, you don't understand how much like capability you have within you, how he's like, you don't understand, you could change the world, like you could change the equestrian scene. He's like, you don't get your talents and your skills and what you can do and how amazing you are. And he's like, but I know it, and I'm always going to keep. And having someone like say that to you, I'd never had anyone that encouraging.
But it's kind of, it's a weird kind of encouragement. It's a really positive one because he's saying, I know you're meant for more.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm pushing you so hard.
Yeah.
So although it is a criticism in one way,
yeah,
the bigger thing is an amazing boost.
Yeah.
Which is quite a difficult balance.
It was hard, and he always said to me, he said, there are going to be times where you hate me. And doing the Facebook Lives was definitely one because I was scared of public speaking.
Okay.
Petrified of it. And he was like, I want you to do Facebook Lives. And I remember I went on, I think there was like 5 people watching me and I had a panic attack.
Oh, bless you.
But no one could see it was happening, but where you're like...
you can feel like the heart, you feel like you're having a heart attack.
And I thought I was going to pass out and I was like freaking out. I was like, 5 people are watching me. But he was like, right, go back on, do it again. Do it again. And I was just like, I can't, I'm too... Like, he's like, you can. And then he'd make me go and do speaking things in front of like people just to get me out there doing it. And I was like, I made an idiot of myself. He's like, it doesn't matter. He was like, you're doing something, like you're pushing yourself. And he was always there. And people would say to me like, you're doing really well, like, give yourself a break, like it's good. And he'd be like, no, come on, I know you can do better. And I was like, oh, this is so hard. So that was amazing. But then there's been the balance of like not burning out with it, but...
Yeah, I can imagine because you have a lot of stuff going on. So you've got the business side of things, obviously you've got the riding side of things, you've got the social side of things, as in social media.
Yeah.
Obviously your Christianity is massively important to you.
Yeah.
Your learning is really important to you. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you balance it all?
I didn't. I have burnt out very badly, like a couple of times. What I find really difficult is I'm such a creative person. I had so many ideas, but I'm one person, so I found it really hard to know where to put all my energy in. I had a lot of people from my horsey side say that I'm putting too much effort into the social media and I'm not going to make it as a rider because I'm more concerned about that.
Right.
And then vice versa. I didn't think that I was going to make it in the business world because I was watching these business entrepreneurs and they're like, I'm putting 100% into my business. And I'm like, but I can't because I'm trying to do my riding. I'm trying to do like a business. I'm trying to do the social media. And I was like, I felt, and I've spoken about it loads on it, I felt like I was going to be a jack of all trades, master of none. And I was so scared about that. And I was so worried that what if in 20 years time I look back and I go, the reason I didn't make it as a rider is because I spent too much time on the social media, and then vice versa. I was so scared of that.
Gosh, I mean, that's horrible because you're scared of both. You're scared of both outcomes, aren't you?
Yeah, because I'm so passionate about both. This is
completely.
the thing. I'm super passionate about my riding and I'm super passionate about helping people. But really, what I realised is they both help each other. Yeah. So because I'm teaching people about mindset on social media, it makes my mindset better. Yeah. So it's actually like a good balance. But I have had to be really strict with myself And basically what I've done is I look at things in my life and I go, is this helping me or is this hindering me? And then I get rid of it if it's hindering me, and that is hard.
Now, is this a bit like, I've done quite a lot of one-to-one coaching with people from a business point of view, and I was finding that some people I worked with, I mean, the people I work with now are incredible, but and they really are, but some people I work with, after a call, I felt really drained.
Yeah.
Other people after a call, I felt on top of the world.
Yeah.
So when you're saying about stuff that's helping and hindering you, is it like an energy thing, or is it going towards a bigger goal, or how do you?
It was, I would say, like how I did it. It was, say, I looked at how my week was, and say I went on a night out on Friday night, because I used to go out a lot. I was a wild child, like wild. And again, it was because I was looking for that acceptance. But I would, even when I started changing the mindset around, I was still in the old habits. So I'd go on a night out, and I'd be out in this club, and I'd be like, is this making me happy? Like, am I actually happy here? No, I'm looking around, looking at if any guy is looking at me to like make me feel better. Like, this isn't helping me. And then I'd wake up, maybe with a hangover, maybe not, but tired. And I'd be like, well, that hasn't made me feel any better. So why do I keep doing this? Or say I have sat in front of the TV, I get up. Do I actually feel happier? And I just went through things in my life and I was like, is this making me happy or not? And I just started like slowly changing things. And it was really hard because it's like saying goodbye to your old self and having your new self come out. But when we talk about this, it's like your old self has to die, and it is hard to like pull away from what you're used to.
You have got to listen to this podcast. I was listening to the way here. She was saying that basically to get to your new self, you have to say goodbye to your old self.
Yeah, and that's so difficult.
Which sounds really scary, doesn't it?
Yeah. But like I was saying, like saying goodbye to friends, and like boyfriends, and like, you know, saying no to certain things, and like I've recently started this thing called the 5 a.m. club.
Okay.
And it's kind of what it says on the tin. You get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you do this thing called the power hour, and you do 20 minutes of exercise to start with, you do 20 minutes of reflection, then you do 20 minutes of learning.
Okay.
And I used to be such a bad morning person. Like, I would get up at 5 to 7, start work at 7, and be all like blurry-eyed. And I would be like, I could never get up early. And then I started getting up at 6, and that was a struggle. Anyway, I listened to this one book, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm all in. And it was like, get up at 5, and I was like, okay. And I just haven't questioned it. I've been getting up at 5 every single day. And I've been doing this, and I feel so much happier. And I'm like, yes, it is a bit, you know, it's hard, isn't it? To be like, I get up at 5 every day. But the benefits from that, it's a struggle to start with, but then what you get from that is just
outweighs
amazing.
the struggle.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of things is, it's tricky. It's like healthy eating, isn't it? It's hard to get into, but actually the benefits of when you do are so important. So really, a lot of people look at me and like, you're very boring because you're so regimented. But I actually feel... I
wouldn't say boring. I think you're really, really interesting.
I just feel like that I feel the most free I ever have in my life because I have a structure to my life.
That's the thing though, isn't it? Structure and routines can absolutely make some people, and it can break others, as in depending on your personality and your makeup. But you've got to find what suits you and not what everyone else is telling you to do.
Structure's my best friend. Like when I went to Australia and didn't have any, I was like, oh, what do I do? I feel like I have no purpose in life.
So therefore you know that routine is your...
But I still have to work hard at keeping to it, because, you know, some days I do just want to go and sit on the sofa and like eat ice cream and watch TV.
We all have those days.
Yeah.
So looking forward into the future,
yeah,
where do you see yourself? Where are your kind of goals and aims to do with your writing, to do with your kind of social media and your teaching and mindset and all those different things?
So riding is, I want to be ranked number 1 in the world. But through the like respect of horses, I don't want to get there and, you know, my horses to be knackered and them not to be really happy athletes. I really want them to be happy. And I also want to be honest about the journey and inspire people throughout the journey. But I don't want to get to the top by like stabbing people in the back. I want it to be like a wholesome thing. And I also know, like, if I don't get to the top, say for whatever reason, like, don't get me wrong, that's my goal. but I'll still, I don't want to be destroyed that it didn't happen. I want to still be...
The journey will be as valuable sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so the goal is really high with the riding, but then I also know that I will be happy enough as a person that I'm not going to be completely destroyed, say if I was meant to be going to the Olympics, but then my horse trips up in the field and it can't go.
Sure.
So that's the goal with the riding. And I just want to be one of those horsewomen that people look at and they're like, wow. Like, like the Jenny Lauriston Clarks, like the Carl Hesters, like, wow, like, so inspiring. And then with the business side of stuff, say social media and business, this is where, like, everyone says I'm too ambitious with stuff because I want to be, like, the best rider. With the business, I want to have, like, my, like, header on our strategy is to be, like, a household name. So I don't want it just to be for the equestrian world.
Okay.
I want it to be far and wide, inspire as many people as possible. I want it to be like millions, but like you say, still have that amazing connection with people.
Sure.
And I just want to inspire people to show them, because the thing is, what's great is I've documented it, so people can look back at the first few videos and go like, she wasn't quite like, because I was still insecure when I was doing that, like she was this, she was that, and to know that they can change themselves around if they wanted to, because it's all documented there.
Sure.
So that's the business side. It's just all around helping people, and obviously financially you have to be able to support yourself. But I know that, the thing is, what's great is if you really do want to help people, the money will come.
Yeah, it's probably your passion. The money will come, isn't it? Like
exactly.
Kind of old.
So I'm not.
Adage. Yeah, I think it's an adage.
I'm not stressed out about that, and I know that it will happen. And then, what was the personal side of stuff?
Yeah, what's your kind of goals and aims there?
So the personal side, because it's so wrapped into my business and my riding, I'd say the only thing is like just a family and like finding the right person. My love life, I know I've probably mentioned it quite a lot, but it was my biggest area I've struggled with.
Was that because of the way you were before you sort of had your realizations? Or?
Yeah, like I think I'd had up until the age of 24, I'd had 16 different boyfriends, dated a lot of more people. I think I was single for about a period of 2 weeks in between all the relationships. Like,
okay,
I literally went from one to the other, and I felt so empty without having someone there. But then I wasn't happy when I was with someone because I knew they weren't right. So it was such an awful thing to be with someone and know it's not right, but to be too scared to be by yourself. So for me, like, one of my big personal goals is to find the right person. And I know you can't rush that. And the thing is, now I am happy by myself, which has been a huge thing. But family is really important. So I would be lying if I said that I wouldn't want a family and wouldn't want to be married and stuff. Like, that's quite important to me.
But then the good thing is all the work that you're doing in terms of your mindset and your own happiness and your own... That's all going to be really positive in helping you to find the right person, because as you say, you're so much more secure in who you are now.
Oh, definitely.
And what you want, you're likely to attract.
I look at it now, like I was not mature enough to be in a relationship. I couldn't even look after myself, let alone have someone else to, because a relationship is you do have to give to that person, and because I wasn't happy with who I was, I couldn't give anything to them. And I was just going out with people who, again, weren't happy with themselves. And we were kind of like, there's a saying in the Bible, what is it? Iron sharpens iron. And like, it's just about basically being with the right people. So if you're with the wrong people, you're just not helping each other.
I get you. Yeah, I know what you mean. Gosh, that's quite... it's so lovely how open you are about everything. I know you're very open on your social media as well, which is something that you're really passionate about, isn't it, as well? Sharing the journey.
I've always been open. My mum's always said I've been too open, so if I did something wrong, I'd go and tell people. So say I made a mistake, I'll go straight to that person and tell them. They're like, but I might have not even found out, and I'm like, just so open.
But then if that's the way you are...
Yeah. That's why I was like, feel like I was meant to do this, because I don't find it stressful going on a vlog and saying this went wrong.
I think as well, it's so many people blame social media for only sharing the highlights, don't they?
Yeah.
And that can have a negative impact on other people's mental health. You were saying that people can lash out because of an insecurity within themselves, but if they see people who it's everything's just sort of sunshine and lollipops, when you've had a bad day at work, at home, with your horse, and everything you get is, well, I've had a great day. It can make you feel more of a failure.
You know what I always said to people? I said, if I just put the good on my social media, I wouldn't have enough content.
That's really interesting.
That's literally it, isn't it? Because that's what I was doing before. I was just putting the good shows up, and it was like tumbleweed on my Facebook page. It's like, when is the next post going to be? Hold on, give me like another year to like... And it's legit true though, and that's where I think people go really wrong. Or I see, say, I'm not pinpointing anyone in particular, but I see people post, went to a show, and I'm say like, this happened, and I'm like, well, I know there's a lot more to that, and you haven't said it. Say they did one test and went really well, and they did one test and went really badly, they'll just put the good test up. I'm like, but you're not getting to your audience on a human to human level,
and it's not a fair representation of how life works, is it?
No, like, no wonder people stress out.
So if that's all you're getting, it's not massively helpful, is it?
Yeah.
So you're talking about obviously the way you nurture your audience. Do you work with many other brands, or are you keen to really, because obviously, you know, with your following and the reach you have, from an influencer point of view, you've got a lot of potential clout there.
Yeah.
But
I've always been really not weird with this, but I really didn't want to become like a walking advert. And I remember I'd feel uncomfortable if my sponsors just asked me to share like this bog standard post. I'd be like, oh, like I know that when I'm scrolling through social media and I'm constantly getting sold to, I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, buy this. The only reason I want you to follow me is actually because I want you to buy this. And I hated that. So it's been very difficult for me with the sponsor thing to explain to them, look, I really do believe in your brand, but I don't want to be a walking advert. And I think now they trust me more, they understand. So how I more show my audience things authentically is I would put them in the vlogs, and it's more like product placement. So I will say, be wearing like, you know, the Sue Carson saddle or my jacket from Equicro because I like it.
Yeah.
And I am wearing it, and I'm not trying to sell it to them. But then they go, okay, like, she actually uses it and it's authentic. And if they want to go and check it out, go check it out. If you don't, like, it won't even register with them. It'll just go over their heads. And I think that's a much nicer way than being bombarded. That has been hard with the sponsor thing, though.
Do you get a lot of requests?
Yes. And what I'm really, really aware of now is to say I want to work with someone is to test that product, that I actually like it, because
Definitely.
I've made the mistake of working with people before being like, I'm sponsored by da-da-da, and then being like, actually,
don't like the product.
I don't like it. And then you look really bad, don't you? Because then you stop using it, and then people are like, oh, you just wanted to sell it to me. And it's like, no, I didn't. I just didn't know I didn't like it. So that's just you learn as you go.
Yeah, completely. I think especially with the audience you've got, it's a very mutually beneficial relationship. And if you're promoting something to some people that you've built up that relationship, that trust with, taking the time to get to know it and love it. And
I'm not going to say what it is, but I have had a tricky situation with a sponsor, and it was very hard because I wanted to be honest with my followers, but I didn't want to drag the sponsor's name through the dirt, because potential sponsors, if they saw me doing that, they'd be like, we can't risk it with her.
Yeah.
And also, I'm just not a mean person.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things. But then I'm like, but how do I be honest about it? That I found really hard. So I was as honest as I could be without being
unpleasant,
point blank rude.
Yeah.
But I think it's just things you learn.
Yeah. No,
as
completely.
you go.
I mean, what do you think of the term influencer? Because a lot of people find it quite offensive in some ways.
I've never really thought about it. I don't mind it at all. I think it's important to remember you are influencing.
Yeah.
So this is where it's hard. Like, I've had most things, nobody's really said I'm influencing in a bad way. But the one thing I have been pulled up on is eating and nutrition, because I'm quite, I like eating healthy. A lot of people have said that I could be sending a negative message out to people that they have to look a certain way, eat a certain way. That's been a tough one for me.
I would not have picked up on that at all.
No, yeah. I'd say there's only been about a dozen messages of that, and it was just around one certain video, which I find it's difficult, isn't it? Because as an athlete and a human, if you do eat good food, you are going to work better.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, it's kind of fuel.
But I'm not saying that people have to, or they have to look a certain way. But I know people are going to feel better. They're going to sleep better. They're going to whatever if they do eat better.
And I think what I get from watching your content is that you sort of say, this is what helped me. This is what I do. Not, and you should do it.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really important divide.
And I'd never tell anyone they had to do anything.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting. Actually, I wouldn't have.
I've had a lot of. There was one when I first started. It wasn't about eating. I had. It was actually a psychologist messaged me saying that could I send her my qualifications for psychology, where I studied what I did, and I said I don't have any, and she went, you can't do what you're doing then. You're damaging people. It's like what did she say? It's like you trying to deal with someone with schizophrenia. You're not allowed to. And I was like, what? I was like, but there's loads of people out there doing self-help that don't have any and she's like, you're damaging your audience. And the ironic thing is, a couple of months passed by. I'm really lucky. I checked with my dad's lawyer if I was all right, and he was like, take it as a compliment. She's just worried because you're stepping on her toes. And then she actually messaged me a couple of months after that going, I'm really sorry about what I said. I actually wanted to work with you, and I think it was just, she even said she was just a bit jealous, and it all just came across. So I could have stopped doing what I was doing, because it did upset me, because I was just started out.
Well, that kind of thing just put panic into your heart, definitely.
But luckily Theo was with me, and he was just like, you're going to get this. Like, chill out about it, it's fine. And luckily I didn't take any notice.
That's really interesting as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in terms of the good things that have happened because of what you do now and who you've been and what you've become, would you say helping people has been the top good thing when people message you and say you've changed their lives?
Yeah, definitely.
What would you say the worst thing's been?
With the social media? Oh gosh, it's really hard to say.
It's a pretty relentless schedule.
I wouldn't even say the trolling was bad. I haven't been trolled that badly. I'm sure I will have. Like, I've had the odd person. Maybe it is the timing thing. Like, a lot of time goes into it, but I do really enjoy it. I can't think of a bad.
So it's not really a bad thing. That's
No.
okay. You're allowed. I think that's completely fine. Because it also, I think what you said about, does it help you, does it hinder you? If you're already always doing those assessments, you're going to knock the bad things out and make it, continue to improve.
Honestly,
and develop.
it sounds so rash, but when I say all of this, literally saved me, it saved me. I really don't like to think about the route I would have gone if I hadn't have gone this way.
Like a whole sliding doors moment.
Yeah, I think I would have gone down especially even without the horses, I would have gone down a very bad path with the going out stuff. I've spoke about it on my podcast, been totally open. Like, I went out one night and was with the wrong crowd and took this drug, and ended up, because I had been drinking, taking way too much of it, and nobody knew that I was going around all my different friends taking it off them. Okay. So I ended up completely taking too much, was in the middle of the dance floor, was completely gone, and then all these lads started trying to take on. It was a complete mess, trying to take my clothes off. Like, it was horrendous. Luckily I got saved, but that makes, nothing bad happened, but I was put in one of the worst situations, and there have been loads of situations like that, and I think how lucky I am that nothing actually bad happened.
Yeah
But I think if I hadn't have had direction, that it could have gone down that route,
which is really frightening
when you think about it.
Gosh.
I've got loads of stories like that. That's why everyone gets shocked on the podcast. They're like, what?
No, but
didn't even know there was a side like this.
No, but that's really, really interesting as well, to look at where you've come from and what you've you've just turned it around completely. Yeah. Same from getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning and doing your power hour. Yeah. Versus that kind of
drinking drugs, boys.
Exactly. It's a different.
I know, and that's what's really cool is I can relate to the younger people. I have a lot of younger people message me, and they're like, they feel they can relate to me because I've been there, I've done it.
Sure.
I understand them, I get it. But then they can see that, you can change it around.
Which is brilliant. Because if someone's come from a sort of don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people who have always been positive or whatever
No, yeah, 100%.
are bad at all. Far from it.
But that's why I've got empathy. And that's what most people say to me. Like, my mum was talking to someone else's mum in the car park at Myerscough, and she was just saying, I just can't believe how much of a skill Olivia has with empathy and how she can relate to people so well. And I was like, it's because I've been through it all.
Yeah.
I've done
So it
it
gives
all.
you a unique perspective.
Yeah.
That you've been there, done it, and completely.
I don't just have to sit there and be like, oh, you should do this. Like, you shouldn't be like that, because I've been like that before. I've done it all. I've done the typical like some teenagers aren't as wild as that, but
it sounds like you really went on the wild thing. So well done there.
Thank you. I'm just glad I came out the other side.
But again, that, as you say, that makes you so relatable to people who are having these issues at the moment and maybe don't feel like it is them, but feel it's the thing that they should be doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is really, really good.
Yeah.
So where can people find you? All the places.
Okay, so Instagram is probably say one of my most active, and that's Towers432. I didn't get on the Olivia Towers thing by then. And then I've got YouTube, which is Olivia Towers Dressage. Facebook is Olivia Towers Dressage. I have now got TikTok, which is hilarious. That's Olivia Towers. One of the biggest platforms, by the way, guys. I would jump on that.
It's growing, isn't it?
It's so easy to grow on it. Like, I've been on it 2 weeks and I have 3,000 followers. It's easy. So there's a tip for you guys. Get on that. Yeah. And then my website's Olivia Towers Dressage. Oh, podcast is Olivia Towers Podcasts.
Are you on iTunes?
iTunes, Spotify.
Cool.
And if you want to hear more of the crazy stories, go check them out. There's loads.
And on your website as well, you have all your clinics and your clothing. You have everything on there, don't you? It's a real hub.
It's a nice hub, yeah.
Everything Olivia Towers. Well, thank you so much. This has been brilliant.
Amazing.
I've loved every moment, and I know the people that listen will as well.
Yay.
Thank you. So thanks so much for listening to this podcast. This is, as I say, a two-part. This is the second part. The first one was 2 weeks ago. So go and have a look at your iTunes or Spotify, or pop over to my website and you can find it there. Olivia can be contacted through her website. She's oliviatowersdressage.com. But she's also Olivia Towers Dressage on Facebook. She is Towers432 on Instagram. And she has a really good YouTube channel too, where all those vlogs, hang out. So go and have a look there too. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch up next week.